Now to President Trump. Overnight, the president holding a rally in West Virginia attacking the Russia investigation. As we now learn, special counsel Robert Mueller is now working with a grand jury on this. The president also facing more leaks from the White House in Washington. The Washington Post publishing transcripts of his actual calls with world leaders. Attorney General Jeff Sessions will speak later this morning about a crackdown now on the leakers. And this afternoon, President Trump will start his first vacation since taking office. He'll spend it at his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. First, though, we want to get to those new details about the Russia investigation, this grand jury, and our senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega back with us from the White House. Good morning, Cecilia.
A lot of news to get here this morning, David. Good morning to you. This investigation has entered an entirely new phase. This grand jury means it will likely stretch on for months, but President Trump is on the offensive. He calls this Russia story a total fabrication. President Trump on a swing to West Virginia overnight, turning his mega rally for supporters into a full-throated assault on the Russia allegations.
The Russia story is a total fabrication. It's just an excuse for the greatest loss in the history of American politics. That's all it is.
One hit after the next.
Most people know there were no Russians in our campaign. There never were. We didn't win because of Russia. We won because of you.
And the crowd loved it.
What the prosecutors should be looking at are Hillary Clinton's 33,000 deleted emails.
Now joining the inquiry into possible collusion between the president, his team, and Russia, a grand jury convened by special counsel Robert Mueller. ABC News has learned that grand jury has been secretly working for weeks. Reuters reporting the panel has issued subpoenas in connection with that Trump Tower meeting where Donald Trump Jr. was promised dirt on Hillary Clinton. The president's personal lawyer says there is no indication the president himself is a target.
With respect to the impaneling of the grand jury, we have no reason to believe that the president's under investigation here.
But the news seemed to catch the top White House lawyer dealing with the investigation by surprise. Special counsel to the president, Ty Cobb, said the White House favors anything that accelerates the conclusion of his work fairly. The White House is committed to fully cooperating with Mr. Mueller. With that investigation now entering new terrain, the president remained defiant and his supporters right behind him.
Have you seen any Russians in West Virginia or Ohio or Pennsylvania? Are there any Russians here tonight? Any Russians?
Yeah, that crowd was certainly eating that up. It is no surprise that the White House would not have known about this grand jury because grand juries operate in secret. President Trump is up early and tweeting this morning. Take a look at this electoral map that he retweeted, a sea of red there. You can see it. It says, "We won. Move on." David, on his radar once again, that 2016 election.
All right, back to the electoral map. Cecilia, thank you. Let's bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, who's with us here this morning. You heard Cecilia mention there, they do their work in secret, obviously, these grand juries. It's a signal that this case is intensifying, but what does it tell you?
Well, first of all, it says that now they have the power to subpoena witnesses. They can subpoena documents, etc. But all this really says to us is that this investigation isn't going away. Those who thought and hoped, things going to just begin and they'll drop it, etc. All this means is this investigation is serious. Indictments could come as a result of it. And now they have the power of a grand jury behind it.
But what specifically can the special counsel Robert Mueller do that he couldn't do before?
It's the subpoena power, in particular. It's the ability to get witnesses to come in and testify under oath. It's the ability to get documents. It's the ability to get financial records. Those things can all now be subpoenaed via the grand jury as part of this investigation. So people talk about grand juries. Sometimes there are investigative grand juries, which are really just used to subpoena documents and witnesses. But more often, grand juries are used ultimately to seek indictments. And that's the danger for not just Donald Trump, but anyone who's the subject of this possible investigation.
And, you know, Dan, I took note of what the president's personal attorney said about this, reacting late yesterday, saying we have no reason to believe the president is under investigation here. But do we really know?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I mean, the fact that he says we have no reason to believe, yeah, you mean that there hasn't been a leak that says the president is specifically under investigation. I don't think it's any question that the president is part of this investigation. Does that mean he's going to get indicted? Absolutely not. But the notion that there's no reason to believe that the president is part of this just doesn't make any sense. So we'll have to see as this continues.
And as you say, the biggest signal is it's not going away.
That's right.
All right, Dan Abrams with us. Dan, thanks as always.